Hello guys and welcome to another Total War Attila video. So today the Longbeards DLC released, which brings the Burgundians, the Langobards and the Allamans into the game. In this video I will show you the entire unit rosters of the new factions, and I will also show you all the new units in battle. I will put up a review/impressions video about this DLC later this week for you guys to enjoy, and that is also why I won't express my opinion about this DLC in this video. You will hear that later, so please keep it in mind. Also note that this video is not sponsored at all. So first we're taking a look at the Allamans, and this is the most balanced factions of the new ones. All these factions are based on the normal Germanic unit roster, but of course they all got a couple of new units in different areas. The Allamans are the most balanced because they got a new unit in pretty much every location. So let's dive straight into it. So for Spear Infantry we got a couple of new units. First of all, Scavenger Mob. This is some sort of different spear unit because it has kind of a high melee attack for the price, but they're lacking armor and, well, armor I mean HP and morale compared to the normal Germanic levy. An upgrade of those scavengers are the Alemannic scavengers. Again, compared to the Germanic spearmen, they have higher melee attack, a lot more melee attack to be honest, but they lack in HP and in morale. Then another upgrade of those are the elite Alemannic scavengers, very high melee attack for a spear unit, but they're lacking in the morale and in the HP department. These guys are just complete beasts in attack for a spear unit, but they're more risky to use because of that low HP and morale. Then we also have two new melee infantry units. We have the Protectores Defectors, which is a Roman unit. This is a good unit for your main army. Good attack, good defense, good armor, and an all-round well-performing unit. However, they have kind of a bad charge bonus. Then we also have Bejeweled Nobles. This is kind of a special unit as well. Their attack and their melee capabilities are like way less. They are terrible in melee compared to the Romans, but they have access to this encourage ability, and they also have discipline, which makes them some sort of morale boosting unit. So keep these guys close to your main lines to give them a nice morale boost. We don't have any more new axe infantry and bow infantry units. However, we do have a new skirmisher unit, skirmisher cavalry unit. We have Marsh Raiders, which is now the most expensive and most powerful skirmisher cavalry unit in the game. 100 missile damage, decent melee stats, high HP, and also scare. This is a great unit, especially for campaign gameplay. Then they also have a Scorpion unit, and this is the only non-Roman faction with a Scorpion, which is the captured Chero Ballistra, and this is actually a very good unit in campaign mode. They can get a lot of kills. So a good all-around faction with a focus on spear infantry, a focus on a skirmisher cavalry, and just support units in general, but mostly they're cool looking spear infantry unit. Next up are the Burgundians, and this is kind of a special faction because they have a complete lack of good infantry. They don't have any unique units in the normal infantry department at all. So this is the first faction which is not focusing at those melee infantry units at all. So only the standard Germanic spear infantry, pike infantry, melee infantry, and only one new axe infantry unit, which is the Burgundian Axemen. They're not that expensive with a very high melee attack, melee damage and charge bonus. However, a heavy lack of melee defense and armor, which makes them some sort of shock infantry unit, but they can be very handy. Then they have some sort of special skirmish units, which are these two Slinger units, Scattershot Hurlers. It looks like they're terrible because they have terrible melee stats and even a missile damage of 20, which is only base damage. It looks terrible. However, the key to this unit is this: fires 3 projectiles. So every shot they fire 3 stones, so you get 60 missile damage per volley, per shot per unit, per man of course. So this is some sort of new kind of Slinger unit. I'm looking forward to seeing how this unit plays out on the battlefield. Then the elite Scattershot Slingers is pretty much the same, however they have a lot of armor, 65, and decent melee stats for a Slinger unit. Also two new skirmisher units. First of all, the Barb skirmishers. Their melee stats are limited, their capabilities are limited, however they have 105 missile damage, which is the highest amount of missile damage you can get in the game for a skirmisher unit. An upgrade of those are the Barb Javelin men, which are pretty much the same but with more ammunition and better melee stats. They can hold out in melee for a much longer time. Now they also get another melee cavalry unit, which is the Burgundian mounted Axemen. They have a very high melee attack of 70, however they don't have like any charge bonus at all, only 10 charge bonus, which means these guys are good in prolonged melee, but on the charge not as much. Also 2 new shock cavalry units, which are just upgrades of the standard Germanic lancers. We have the Barb Lancer, good charge bonus, decent HP and just very deadly against infantry, and the Royal Lancers with an insane charge bonus but average in prolonged melee, so again good for charges against infantry lines. Then they also have one Warhound unit, the Burgundian Warhounds. So this is a faction which lacks infantry, but it's more focused on cavalry and special kind of skirmishers. So it's a cool faction to play with, especially in campaign. Now their last new faction is the Langobards. They had the same spear infantry, but look at this melee infantry. All the new units of the Langobards are in the melee infantry department. This faction is focused on just hand-to-hand sword combat. So the same spear infantry, only Germanic X-Infantry, normal skirmishers and only the normal Germanic Cavalry. All the new units are in the melee infantry department, but there are some cool kind of special ones. The first one is already special, the Langobard Clubman. Very cheap and not that great attack, 27 melee attack and 11 melee damage is not as much. But look at this armor. 53 armor and 120 HP for such a cheap unit is insane. These kinds are tanks and they just won't die. Then we have Horse Hewers, the name already says it, this is a anti-cavalry unit. Their melee stats are kind of, well, normal. Well, their charge bonus is 60 though, so that's insane of course. And their armor is very low, so they're bad against cavalry chargers of course. However, the key is in this excellent attack against cavalry, they have a 40 bonus against cavalry, which will, well, they'll just demolish cavalry units in melee, just don't get charged. Then we have Young Wolves, which is some sort of shock infantry unit. Very high attack, very high charge bonus, but a complete lack in defense and armor. We also have the Horse Slayers, which is an upgrade of the Horse Hewers. They get like better melee, well, a very good melee defense and better melee stats in general. And they still keep that 40 bonus against cavalry, so again great against cavalry. Then we have Skilled Clubmen, and these guys are just the Leopard tanks of Attila right now. 70 armor combined with 42 melee defense combined with 147 health. These guys just won't die. Their melee is kind of bad, but they just won't die. Great meat shields, stuff like that. They aren't even that expensive. Then we also have Gonen's Men. This is a great attack unit, 52 melee attack and 50 melee damage, and also a good amount of melee damage, melee defense. However, they are Berserk units with Frenzy, Berserk and Scare, so that is kind of risky, but they're less risky than normal Berserk units because of their high armor and defense. Gonen's Chosen are an upgrade of those, just all around better stats with a melee attack of 75, which is just insane. So these are all the new units and all the rosters of the new factions. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and I will see you all next time.